All right, everybody. So we're going to talk about the first part of the fundamentals here, which is finding your niche. And we're going to cover this pretty quickly at a high level, and then I'm going to go actually over the shoulder and show you how I find niches or quote unquote interests on Facebook to go after. And I have it as the last bullet point here, but I want to cover it very quickly. Let's not overthink this. Hesitating here is not going to get you anywhere. If you don't ever pick a niche and then start building that MVP model store, you're never going to make any money. So it's not something that you want to hesitate on. Don't overthink it. You don't have to have it perfect, especially this model, which is going to be very low cost, very low entry, the time for entry, for you to get into a market and test out if you can make some money there. So I'm going to show you how to find the niche and then gauge that niche's presence on Facebook. Remember that Facebook is very unique in the sense that interaction and interests and hobbies and the things that people socially interact with on Facebook is not necessarily the same thing that they would go searching for on Google. So we have to make sure that this niche that we have and that we want to go after, it has a good, strong presence on Facebook. Okay? So let's actually go over the shoulder and show you how I do this. So you can see that right here, and I'm going to zoom this in a little bit. You can see that I actually have this interest pop up here and then I can see more, but I want to make sure you understand how to get here. So what I did was I basically typed in interests in the graph search bar, and that's going to go ahead and give you this magnifying glass icon here. Click that, and then we're back to where I was. So right here is where you can either hit see more or the pages here. I'll go ahead and hit see more. So, and I'll zoom in again. This is going to show you, and I have to block out some of these things just for integrity purposes on my pages. But I want to go ahead and show you that everything in my middle column here is what you would call the interests or the niches available to you on Facebook. So you can actually scroll through here and you can see firefighting. We're going to actually use this one as my example in the following part of the video. But you can scroll through here and actually see all the niches on Facebook. And I want to stop real quick to look at this jewelry. Now you might be confused here. Now while this is obviously, if you're going to get into the physical product selling, you're going to want to sell jewelry, right? But at the same time, this is more of a category. You can target it, but that's not going to utilize the power of Facebook. So this is more of a category in the sense that it has no real meaning behind it. And you can offer a jewelry item to someone targeting this, but you're not going to get the full advantage of Facebook. What you're going to want to do is sell something like a, ukulele necklace targeting this interest, right? That's an interest on Facebook. This is more of a category. This is a type of product. That's not the same thing. I hope that makes sense. I just want to cover that really quickly. So what I want to do now, like we said, we're going to stick with the firefighting interest or firefighter, and we're going to go ahead into our ads manager. And up at the top here, you're going to see tools. You want to click this and hit audience insights. And that's going to bring up my favorite tool in all of Facebook. You're going to want to go here. And if you've never been in here before, that's perfectly fine. Again, if you're more advanced, you've been in here before. So what we're going to do real quick is cover the basics. So we're going to look at all the United States, 18 and above. Gender is both men and women, and we have no interest selected. Something to note here, this gives us a great baseline against the general population of the United States Facebook community. So we have 54% of it being women and 46% of it being men. And when we go into market segmentation, actually a little bit more in this video here in a second, we'll show you why that's important to understand. And it'll give you some signals on some actions you need to take to make sure you're targeting correctly. So if I was going to go after the interest of firefighter, I'm going to go ahead and select that. I now have 59% of this audience being women and 41% of it being men. Now, a simple Google search will tell me, now depending on what I'm targeting here, but a simple Google search will tell me that there are more firefighters who are men than there are who are women. So why the discrepancy here? Well, it's because of a phrase that I've coined a long time ago called likes by association. Basically, the way that Facebook gathers people into audiences for people to market to is by including them based off their social interaction while on the platform. Now, the one thing to realize is if you don't input any hard data, which is like your profile, things that you actually like on Facebook, it's going to go off of soft data. And these are phrases that I made up. So the soft data would be your interactions, you liking a post, you commenting on something, you sharing something, because that's showing intent for you to be interested in that market. Now the proof of this and how I know that this is what Facebook does is the second that I took myself off as employed at my company, the company I used to work for, I started getting job applications and requests for, do you want to work here, for nurses. A couple places in North Carolina asked me if I wanted to work for them as a nurse. I'm not a nurse. I wasn't a nurse at my day job, but I've been selling nurse shirts for 2 years. So my interaction with the market, my interaction with pages and likes and things like that has made me be included in part of Facebook's audience. So that's how they build up things for people to target. Now, that can be really, really powerful if we understand it, or it can be really detrimental because that if you target an audience with a large portion of it being likes by association, you're not going to get great results. So if I'm trying to sell something to firefighters here, a simple Google search tells me that I need to cut the women out at first, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I can see that I have 2.5 to 3 million monthly active people included in this audience still. Now, when I go into market segmentation, I'm going to tell you a lot about how to refine this and find good interest to go after. But right now, I just wanted you to focus on, at a top level, we have nearly 3 million people who are monthly and active in here before we really drill down. And that's a great start. So that's how we gauge the presence here on Facebook. Now, the second thing we're going to do is look for how much competition, or a rough estimate of how much competition is in the market right now. And there's only a 10,000 foot view that I'm going to check this out. I mean, really getting into it, you can do a lot of searches and look around for fan pages and things, but we're going to do a kind of a top level check. And there's two things I want you to focus on when doing this. We're looking for people like me or like you who build fan pages for the sole purpose of selling physical products. And there's a way to do that in a very simple method. Let's go over to the page likes tab. Now you can look for pages here that say, I support, I love, things like or very personal messages attached with the niche in the name. So I support firefighters, or I love firefighters, or firefighter moms, or things like that don't look like actual businesses and are actually community pages will give you a good indication of how much presence has been there and how much presence is there selling physical products, whether it be t-shirts or something else. Another way you can do it in here, but you can also go back to this method here and just type in I support. You can see right away I got I support firefighters, and it's a page. It's a huge page. It's got 846,000 people. And right away, you can see that they have a physical product being sold here on this page. So that's pretty cool. It's an easy way to gauge. It's an easy way to get your head around how many people here are, competitively selling into this market. And if there is a handful of pages, that's good enough for me. If I searched the niche and saw nothing, I'd have to do further research into whether or not I want to sell into that niche. We're going to go into a little bit more of product selection, which you'll see a kind of outside look on Facebook to see how much you can come back to Facebook and see if you can sell that product. So we'll see if you have a lot of sales on an item, then it's a good chance you might be able to come back to Facebook and see if there's a market there for you. I rarely bumped into a niche that hasn't had the stone uncovered here on Facebook. But it's another ways of means testing your niche to make sure that there's some buyer intent there already, because we're not afraid of competition, remember? Okay, so that's it for this video. We're gonna go ahead and move into the next section about selecting your product, and I'll see you in that video.